Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to part 3 of Art of Maneuvering 1. Today, this will be the last part for AOM 1. Next Saturday, we will begin with AOM 2 part 1. All right, so that it is for now. So same thing, as usual, there's only one rule to be in the class. That is, don't believe a thing I say. I think I've explained a lot of time already why you shouldn't believe anything I say. In fact, whatever I say, you prove me wrong. Okay, that's prove me wrong, right? So if you find that what I say makes sense, then make it your experience, right? Okay, that's a recap of what we covered in part 2 called the 6 dragons. There are actually 6 key points here. So just to refresh your memory, since it has been a 1 week gap before we proceed with part 3. Now, number one, in part 2, we learned that old ways won't open new doors. So when time has changed, things has changed, we should not always stare back at those doors that has already closed. Right? So instead, we should look forward. We should look forward and then look for new doors that has already opened, but we may not know it, or open new doors. Okay, there are so many opportunities out there waiting for us to create and to open the doors. So yeah, this is what it is. Second, we know now everyone wears 2 hats. One is the 前挂 hat, the other one is the 坤挂 hat. So that means the leadership role and the followership role. The key point here is not for you to only wear 1 hat and wear the hat well and then forget about the other. Because we play both roles at the same time, and then at different time, different situation, we may have to just switch hat here and there. You know, especially when we are in the middle management kind of role, you have to please your boss. You have also to please your subordinate. So at times, you know, you have to play 2 roles. So play it well. That's why I call it the art of 9-6. 9 referring to the leadership, 6 referring to the followership. So you must know how to, in Chinese, you call it 拿捏的妥当, okay. Next, when you choose to open a new door, open a new life cycle, please do it with both eyes open, because you know you could be opening a can of worms, or you could be opening a can of happiness. So, or it could be both. So it's really up to you. Now that you learn all this, remember, whenever you try to create a new life cycle, there are 62 hexagrams behind the doors waiting for you, right? And next point, always make a choice from a standpoint of no regret. In Chinese, in I Ching terms, it's called 无咎. 无咎 means no regrets. So always make that point. So if you make a choice, and we know that every choice has a consequence, and if that consequence really come true, will you regret making the choice? If you will, then I Ching says, don't make that choice. As simple as that. So that is how easy I Ching says, if you want to make a decision, how to make a good one, this is it. Always ask yourself this question. Next point. Patience is not about waiting, it's about what you do while you're waiting. If you can remember, we talked about there's a due process. All right. So when there's a due process, you have to wait for the due process to play full out. So rushing into things, rushing into getting results and achievements, sometimes may backfire on you, which we're going to talk more in today's session. And last but not least, knowing what knowledge means is actually what brings wisdom. So we don't learn things at just the surface level. We must always go behind, go beyond, look for the source of that water. Remember, we talk about the river, the mountain, and then the source of the water is always behind the mountain. What we are exposed to is usually only the water that's in front of us. That is not what we want. That is just called surface learning. If you want wisdom, go behind, look for the source. All right. So this basically wraps up, sums up, or have a simple recap of what we had in part 2, the 6 dragons. And with this, let's carry on to part 3, called staying successful after becoming successful. Okay. Now, in today's session, there will be 4 modules, module 7, 8, 9, and 10. Right? 7, we are talking about desire and dispute. That's why I mentioned there's a due process. If you rush the process, sometimes it will backfire on you. And what comes after rushing through is that you may have dispute. So usually sometimes when you're going to dispute, it's because you rush things. All right. So we'll talk about that later. And module 8, must win or never lose. When you have a dispute, how do you approach that dispute or confrontation? How do you approach a confrontation? We'll talk about that later. Should you always win, or should you want to have a win-win, win-lose, lose-win, whatever? Where are you coming from when you approach or you started a confrontation? All right, so we'll talk about that in module 8. And module 9, small step each time, we'll talk about success. Don't always go for big bang. Eating don't advocate that. Eating always advocates small step. So this is what we're going to discuss in module 9. And then module 10, I think this is the crux of it for the entire AOM 1, which says that if you can really follow through all this and you achieve some kind of success, be it big or small, how can you stay there as long as you can? Because we already discussed in the last part two that we know the overall sequence that hexagram 11 is about unshakable. Unshakable can mean success. Now, what is just beside unshakable is actually toppling, which is hexagram 12. It's just beside it. So that means if you don't handle hexagram 11 well, you straight away can go into hexagram 12, which we don't want. Okay, which we don't want. It's pretty painful, and not many people can really handle hexagram 12 very well, right? Okay, so we will proceed from here. Let's move on to module 7 first, desire and dispute. In the last round, part 2, we talk about learning. We ended there, learning, right? And we say that whenever you open up a new life cycle, you will have challenges. That's why we say that beginning is always challenging. So in order to shorten that learning curve, the best thing that you can do is to quickly learn. So it's just like COVID-19. When COVID-19 comes out, it's a new life cycle for everybody. All right. So what the scientists all over the world do is that they realize that the new cycle have taken place. What they do is they really zoom in and then study this virus. So it's a matter of how much they know, how much they have already, or how much they don't know that they don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of things that we still don't know about COVID-19. All right. So this is what the scientists all over the world and the government all over the world are trying to do, to know more about COVID-19. But on one hand, learning helps you to overcome some of the issues brought about by sprouting hexagram. It also starts to develop craving. We call it needs and wants in that person. Okay, so let me show you a slide and you just tell me how you feel looking at those slides. I show you 3 advertisements. And a lot of time, every day, we are exposed to such advertisement. Now, just quickly drop me a note in the chat box and say how you feel. Do you feel tempted? Do you feel that you have learned something from these 3 slides? Or you feel that, I don't know how you feel, or are you tempted to take it up? Number 1, top left, you could be making up to 389 per day working from home using Google. Oh, just by using Google, you can earn up to 389 per day. I presume it's US dollar. Then on the left bottom, learn how you can earn up to over 600 a week working right from home. Sounds good, right? Okay, all position expected to fill up in 24 minutes. Desperate enough, I think they will fall for this. Because such exposure make you learn, so there is something called quick cash methods out there and people are sharing. So it creates the kind of needs and wants, really a desire, we call it desire, okay? So that part, learning can lead to desire. And to put it into more perspective, actually in between, learning hexagram and desire hexagram, there is some more in between processes that has to take place, which is not spelled out in this eating, but I'm telling you, because sometimes eating, they only show you whatever is on the surface, but you have to go behind, pluck out, find the source of the water. Okay, you just say what? Too tired to find out the small print, all right? So don't read, don't read. Okay, I'm going to show you what are the in-between processes. This is the in-between. Top one is learning, bottom one is desire. Okay, so we have the Meng Gua, learning Gua, and then to the bottom called the Xu Gua, desire, Xu Gua. The in-between sub-processes is these two, awareness and interest. Now, when you learn something, for example, the ads that I show you, I expose it to you, you learn, you get awareness. All right. So if I don't show you, you probably will not know there are such advertisements out there. But once I show you, say, oh, that could be, you created an awareness in you saying that, oh, these are some ways to get quick cash. Something like that, awareness. And from awareness, interest will be aroused. Interest will be aroused. Say that, oh, wow. So I have an interest in making more money right now. Okay, interest. So when the interest is aroused, your desire automatically comes out. Okay, so from Meng Gua to Xu Gua, there are sub-processes, and the sub-processes in simple term is called awareness and interest. Okay, so let's take an example of COVID-19. COVID-19, when the first outbreak came out, everybody learned that, oh, okay, we have a new virus out in the street called COVID-19. And then as more and more information come to us, we become aware that COVID-19 is actually a very infectious and contagious virus. Because of our awareness, we suddenly have a new interest called, okay, let's take prevention now. Better than being attacked by the virus and then we have to go into the hospital, something like that. All right, so from the interest is aroused, therefore your desire comes out. And because you want to prevent, therefore your desire to own, to have, for example, face mask, sanitizer, suddenly become very great. And therefore, you have to go out to satisfy these desires. Now, there are, I don't know why there are a small group who has a different kind of desire. They go for toilet rolls. Okay. All right. So remember this, from learning to desire hexagram, there's actually sub-processes. So if you fall for the desire, everybody fall for the desire, you could have disasters. Panic buying. This is what I call it, panic buying, because everybody fall for the same desire. Right? And if it's not managed well, this is what we call disasters. Then come to these questions. Having desire, having cravings, is it right or wrong? Okay. If you have learned eating up by now, you know that there's nothing called right, nothing called wrong. Let's see this. All right. Okay. The desire is here. This is the spectrum. You can see the spectrum of desire, level of desire. On the left is abstinent. That means totally no desire. On the right is the extreme end called lust. That means over desire. Now let me ask you this question. Anyone keen to could just answer? If a person has absolutely no desire, so being contented is also a desire. I desire to be contented. And because you desire to be contented, there are certain things that you let go. Certain things that, you find that, okay, it happens, so be it. I'm just contented. If you hope for a good increment, but you only get 1%, you feel contented because you just desire to be contented. Okay, so, but again, if you choose to have the desire of no desire, then you probably will have no purpose in life. You probably have no motivation, like what Merritt said. And you probably won't be putting in any effort because you just be content. Whatever come, whatever don't come, then so be it. Okay, so this is called having no desire, which is probably the lower extreme end. I would say that 没有上进心 in Chinese we call it 没有上进心. Okay, so 没有上进心. But let's discuss about the other end, which is having over desire, which is lust. Lust in a very bad sense means that actually you want everything. And when you see somebody have it, you also want to have it. And when you have it, you want more. This is called lust. All right. So I Ching says that it's okay to have desire, because even though you don't want desire, it's also a desire. The key thing about desire is to have a moderated and justified desire. And this is what it means. 水天虚, 虚卦 needing, it says that, if you look at the 卦辞, the Chinese characters on the right, 有福, 光亨, 贞吉, 利色大川. Remember 乾卦 I mentioned 元亨利贞. Okay, 元亨利贞, these 4 Chinese characters in 乾卦, 元亨利贞. In this 序卦, there's no yuan, there's hen, there's li, there's zhen. So 3 characters came out except the yuan. It's the same like learning hexagram, right? Learning hexagram also hen, li, zhen come out, but yuan never come out. So in learning, it says that if you want to learn, don't learn the surface. You must go behind, learn the insights, learn the wisdom. Now, apply the same thinking to this 序卦. You have hen, li, zhen, but no yuan. So in desire, what is missing? Where is the yuan? Yuan is missing, but what is that yuan? It means that whenever you have a desire, you must always know why do you need that desire. Okay, why do you need that desire? And everybody, sometimes when you buy some certain things, when you go shopping, window shopping, and then you've been exposed to advertisement, a special offer, discount here, discount there, Great Singapore sales, and then we walk past a shop and then something catch your attention. And then for no reason or rhyme, you just go in there, you see something you like, you pay for it, and you bring it home. And the thing stay in your wardrobe for months, for years. And one fine day when you do house spring cleaning, you took it out, say, when did I buy this? Why do I buy this? Why? You've been there and you never touch it. So you bought something, at that moment when you buy, you have the desire to buy. But now when you think back, you find that, why do I buy it? So that the why. So every time when you have a desire, I Ching always questioning you, saying that, okay, you can have desire, but ask yourself this, the yuan is missing. If you can identify the yuan, then your desire is justified. So Darren said, you have all the resources around you. However, you didn't realize they are there, and you still complain you don't have. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so sometimes it's around you. So back to this desire. So remember this, if you think you have a desire and cannot cope with the desire, it's overbearing, and you just need to have it right now, things like that. Always ask what I Ching want to ask you. What is your yuan? What is your intention of having that desire? And one very key thing which I Ching says is that desire always comes from a lack of kind of attitude and mentality. Isn't it true? Because you feel that you don't have, therefore now you have a chance to have, your desire comes out. That's why you want it. Okay, so for desire, again, you look at those pointers form. Pointers form is that you must have integrity for whatever you want to desire. Doesn't mean that you can rob people, kill people, rob the bank, it's okay because you have that desire. No, you still must have that integrity in you, or in order to have a desire to be justified. And justified needs. I'll talk about justified needs in a while. And staying true to your intention, because if your intention keep moving around, today I buy this, for example, I buy the laptop, it's because of I need to teach online, so I buy the laptop, so justified, right? So later on you may say, okay, because your intention changed, therefore you keep on buying other things, that become overspending, So try to stay true. And whatever desire you have and whatever that you want to satisfy your desire, there is a price to pay. Remember this, I Ching says there's no free lunches out there. Whatever it is, there's a price to pay. Even though, for example, you may see some advertisement out there say that free training, free preview, free whatever free product, just put in your email. To get a free product, you still got to drop in your email. You got to pay with your email. You get what I mean? So there's no free lunches. You've got to pay for the thing with something that you have, that they want. So it's a trick. Okay. Now coming back to point 2, justified needs. Justified needs. Let me ask you a question. I see whether I can send this poll out to you. And what are the two questions to find out whether your needs is justified or not? Okay, number one, 能要不能要? I repeat, 能要不能要? Number two, 该要不该要? If you're able to answer these two questions to your desire, then you are in the safe zone. I say in the safe zone, so that it means that you're actually making a choice from a standpoint of no regrets. 能要不能要，该要不该要. Okay, so always put this in your head. Basically, it's like that. Should I have it? Can I have it? 该要不该要，能要不能要. There's third point, which I want to add in this session 3, is how much is enough? How much is enough? All right. So yes, you have a justified need that you need this thing so they can satisfy your desire, but that thing can come in many shapes and forms. You can, if you need a transport, you have Grab car, you have taxi, you have MRT, or you can afford to buy a car, you buy a car, right? Because all these things is 该要不该要，能要不能要嘛? You ask yourself, you say, yeah, I need a transport because I need to go to work to earn money. So it's justified. Then again, if you say that, okay, I have enough money, so let's buy a car. Then again, is how much is enough? Yes, I need a car, I can afford a car, okay, let's go for a car. But it's how much is enough? Do you need a Bentley to go to work? You know, that kind of things. So you know what I mean, how much is enough? And then you add up these 3 pointers that will help you to justify your needs or your desire. Now, see this example. Property agent fined 27,000 for altering documents to collect extra commissions. Now, some property agent I know are actually earning big bucks, and I don't know much about this property agent. Why his intention of doing this? Can anyone share with me? Okay, can anyone share with me? Maybe you have different ways of looking at this, but I'm just thinking behind, why is he wanting to do all these things? Mary say greed. So back to the 3 questions. Chun Hao also say greed. Yes, greed. Tan. Okay, back to the same question, right? If this property agent knows about Yi Jing and he finds that there's a lobang for this, there's an opportunity, right? There's an opportunity to earn extra bucks. Then if he knows these 2 questions, he probably be asking himself, 能要不能要? This 27,000 can earn or cannot earn? Should earn or should not earn? You know, if he can answer these 2, I'm sure he won't be doing all this. Right? So, okay, so Samuel say, could be need from somewhere else. All right. I don't know. Seriously, it could be need from somewhere else. The same thing. If you have a need and your need create a desire and something else can satisfy the desire, that something else that comes along, can you have it? Should you have it? This is a 2 question. So now say can earn but proper legal way. That's right, can earn but proper legal way. So back to the point, just now talk about desire, integrity must comes in. Integrity, I don't know anyone else who dare to engage this property agent or not to help him sell or buy houses. I don't know because once your integrity gone, it's gone. Remember in Yi Jing, we say that the lower series of the 64 hexagram, we are talking about self-cultivation. That's why Yi Jing pay a lot of attention on self-cultivation. It is something that is not the fault of heaven, not the fault of earth, you know, not the 乾坤 the problem. It's your own internal problem. All right. Florence say ethic, yes, ethic. I think I saw a question raised by Yu Zhi. Can these two questions same weightage? Up to you. Up to you. I cannot dictate say that they must be the same weightage. Up to you. It's again back to your own integrity, your own conscious 良心 to answer these 2 questions and how much is enough. Okay, so this hexagram, the essence, one of the other essences of this hexagram is to tell us never take dishonest shortcuts. all things have a due process. So sometimes it's better to allow nature to take its course. So COVID-19, yes, while we want everyone want COVID-19 to go off as soon as possible, but there is still a due process. We cannot say that it will go off miraculously. Yes, it will one day. It will one day. But in between, from now to then, there's still a due process. The nature must play full out first. The virus must play full out before it dies down, which we have already learned. What goes up must comes down. What comes down must go up. So this virus has already shown up. It will be a matter of time where it will go down again. So there is a due process. And we shouldn't rush. We shouldn't rush. You know, there's some country, I think you know who I'm referring to, rush into opening up their economy. And, you know, they are getting into a lot of trouble. Right? So certain things shouldn't rush. But should we be super KS? I'm not too sure whether we should be super KS or not. Okay, so because again, if you're super KS, that means everything cannot do. It's a total full lockdown. You cannot go out. You cannot visit. You cannot even talk to anybody. You cannot smoke. You cannot jog. That's called very full KS. Will that work? I also don't know. It probably will. Now look at this. At least 6 countries who rush to open up, they find themselves having to reimpose lockdown as new coronavirus flare up again. Okay? And Singapore is also opening up. So a lot of times, while you're waiting for the due process to play full out, that this is something what we call, you have to have patience. Okay? You have to have patience. And patience is not about waiting. Hear me, hear me, okay? I say again, patience is not about waiting. You know, if government tell you to say, okay, we're going to have full lockdown, we're going to have circuit breaker, sorry, not full lockdown, circuit breaker, everybody stay at home, no business can start work, you know, only essential services can start business or resume business. And while we are at home doing, you know, working from home, feel like a cooked up bird like that, okay? This is, you have to have patience to wait it out. But my interpretation, eating interpretation of patience is not just sitting there and wait for COVID-19 to just go off. Patience is what you do while you're waiting. And I guess a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, they know this very well. They know this essence very well. They know that patience is not the ability to wait, but what you do while you are waiting. You know, that's why business owners have different kind of thinking mindset. And entrepreneurs too have a different kind of mindset. They won't just sit there, be a sitting duck and just wait out. They will do something. They will do something to get themselves ready and better. All right. So for example, I know of some pub, you know, pub in Singapore, they can't open business now, obviously, because when you open business, it means there's close contact area, right? So during this period, what they do? They have to survive. So while they are waiting for the measures to be lifted, I know some pubs, they do this. They come up with something called a DIY cocktail. DIY cocktail, meaning that they will prepare all the ingredients separately, and they will put all the ingredients into the box with an instruction manual, probably with a shaker also inside the box. If you want, you order. If you order it, they will send it to your house. And then when you open up, you just follow the instruction, you do up your own cocktail. No, this is what they did. So this is not about just wait out there and do nothing. No, that is not what eating trying to advocate. All right. So remember, patience is not the ability to wait, but what you do while you are waiting. And Singapore government did exactly the same thing. While dealing directly with the COVID, trying to put it out, Singapore government also, while having the patience to wait out, okay, they did something. They ramped up reskilling efforts for sectors hardest hit by COVID-19. So they do not do only dealing with the COVID. They are also doing a lot of things in the background, behind the scene, to prepare themselves. So what have you done for yourself? Also, that is the question. Then the thing about 虚卦, all right, 虚卦, if you flip it upside down, you get 送卦. Okay, 送卦. So what it means here is that from desire, if you don't manage the desire well, it can easily, or the situation can easily flip over to become an arguing 卦. 天水送啦, arguing, dispute lah, or you know, fighting. Okay, so let me bring back the example just now about learning and then desire. Remember the sub-processes from learning to desire. And I want to show you, if your desire is not well managed, and if your ball of energies come into contact with another ball of energies, I mean another person, and this two ball of energy doesn't agree with each other, that is where 天水送 will come in. Remember this, the first 4 steps is what I've shown you earlier. Learning leads to awareness, awareness leads to interest, interest leads to desire, and the desire, if you can, if you have your handbook with you, just draw a line below desire, a horizontal line below desire, and say that will be the floodgate. That will be the floodgate. So that means before you put your desire into action, for example, you need a mask, you need sanitizer, and you need to take action to satisfy it, that is where you're putting out your desire energy out into the outer world. Okay, out into the outer world. So you remember this. If you can, draw a line under the desire, in between desire and action, that is where the floodgate is. That means if you push out, you're pushing out from the inner world, the energy, transform it into action energy. And whatever you push out from there on, you cannot take it back. You cannot take it back. It's like a pail of water you pour out, you cannot take it back. Okay? So let's look back at that toilet roll example. Let's rerun the whole thing. Learning, because we learned that there's something called COVID-19, and we suddenly become aware that it's infectious and contagious. Therefore, your interest comes out, say that, okay, I better take prevention measures. And because of your interest, your desire come out. So your desire say, okay, to make sure you are able to take up some prevention measure, you need masks, you need sanitizer, you need toilet rolls. All right, toilet rolls. And because of this desire, and because everybody have the same desires, and everybody push that desire energy out into the outer world, into action energy, that's where you see empty shelves. And if, let's say, the situation cannot be managed properly, you have robberies, you have fights, you have rationing in global toilet paper penny buying. You get my point? That dispute is where 天水送, the hexagram is where it comes out. Because of desire. Okay. Now, let me show you, flash out this lady. I don't know how many of you remember her or know her. That's type in the chat box. Anyone remember this lady or know this lady? Anyone? Oh, Sovereign. Yeah, Sovereign. Yes, Sovereign. Yes, Sovereign. Okay, good. Now, I can't remember where in this place that this picture was taken, but she was obviously having a dispute with this gentleman over there with a mask, and then they were holding hands. No lah, it's not holding hands. They are holding on to something that hold them together lah. Okay, Darren said yes, special VVIP. That's right. Is that Sun Fu Market? Joanna, is that Sun Fu Market? I don't recall Sun Fu Market has something like this. Okay, but anyway, yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah. So they are in that 天水送 situation, 天水送 hexagram. But what brought them to such situation? We can actually use the 64 hexagram sequence to look at that. Samuel says she has mental issue. Well, I don't know. Yes, obviously they send her to have some checkup. but I'm not so sure lah. Okay, now let's see lah. Let's see. From the hexagram sequence point of view, how did they land up there? Okay, let me orientate you this. On the left side is the processes from learning, awareness, interest, desire, and then to action. And then towards the right, you have the non-sovereign. Non-sovereign is actually the gentleman with the mask on. And then the extreme right is the sovereign lady. So let's see how they go through the flow. Okay, let's see how they go through the flow. So learning phase, at learning hexagram, both of them knew that the COVID-19 is going around, creating havoc. And because of all the government news and instructions and whatnot, created awareness in them saying that, okay, there is something called the wear mask rule. All right, so wear mask rule, they are aware of it. But the awareness may or may not create the similar or related interest in them. Right? For non-sovereign, now that they are aware, that create the interest of having a prevention mindset. But for the sovereign lady, her interest is not about prevention. Her interest is actually in her sovereign status. And because of the interest, different in interest, therefore their desire is also different. For non-sovereign, his desire is to expect compliance from all, whoever want to come out into the street. But for the sovereign, her interest is actually pretty personal, is that she want to maintain her sovereign status. Actually, up to now, I still don't know what is sovereign status. And because of the desire, and when these two energy, I call it two balls of energy, come together and interact, that is where this Tian Shui Song comes in. Because whatever desire is still belonging in their inner world. But when they let it out, okay, push out into action energy, that's where the conflict comes in, that's where the dispute comes in. So for non-sovereign, he chose to confront the lady. But for the sovereign lady, he chose to defy, and that's where this Tian Shui Song comes in. Do you understand so far? Okay, so that's how sometimes when you look at dispute between two people, when you apply the template of this 65 hexagram on them, you probably can trace back, hey, how come they can come to this stage? Usually it's a diverging of opinions, perceptions, interests, and desire that cause them to be like that, to reach that situation. So for some people, they call it, both of them 八字不合啦，八字不合, that's why when they come together, 就是天下大乱啦。Okay. Now, I Ching says, in a Song Gua, in a dispute hexagram situation, it is always a lose-lose situation. No matter whether you are strong, the other party is weak, or the other way around, when you're decided to come into a dispute kind of situation, it is always a lose-lose. This is what I Ching says. Now, let me show you an example. I don't know how many of you can remember this case. It is about a case of a couple winning a suit against AIA over a fake 6.8 million policy. All right, they've been fighting for how many years? They have been fighting for, they spent 10 years fighting against AIA. And although they won, they say that it has been very tiring for them. So to them, it's as good as no win, that kind of thing. It's so tiring. 10 years. Can you imagine you spend 10 years fighting with AIA? All right. So when it comes to dispute, always bear in mind, if you choose to go into dispute, it's always lose-lose. I can show you more examples. Now, US-China trade war, if they chose to really, come to blow, it's always a lose-lose. Always lose-lose. not only them lose, we also lose. People, third party also lose, Singapore also lose. And then I doubt what this guy is saying. This Hong Kong protesters say that now or never, the protest, now or never, and Hong Kong protesters say they have nothing to lose. Do you believe this sentence? They have nothing to lose. I think they have everything to lose. I'm not saying that they are doing it wrong to protest for their own freedom of speech or whatever, but what they are doing, what they have chosen to do, have complications, have choices. They're actually fighting. That's only my own opinion. So don't believe a thing I say. That's my own opinion from Yijing point of view also. So they are fighting for their own freedom, for their own rights, which I'm not saying they are wrong. But the choice of action that they have decided to take may not be appropriate. You see, remember this, when we push everything all the way, insisting our rights all the way to the end, reversal is going to take place. Reversal is going to take place. Anyway, by the way, can anyone remember what are they protesting actually? What is the key intention? I really can't remember. Okay, but if you can remember, just share in the chat box now. What's the key thing that they're actually fighting? To me, I just thinking that, oh, because they are still young, they want their brighter future, they don't want to be under China, something like this. But anyway, my thinking is that if you push everything all the way to the extreme, burn down MRT, burn down this, burn down that, I think they burn down one person also, I don't know, I can't remember. Things are going to reverse to their disadvantage. I'm serious, from Yijing point of view. This is how I see it when I map the Yijing sequence onto this situation. This is what I'm actually expecting to see. Unless they do something, unless someone advise them, they change their mind. Okay? What happened is that I think, let me see, it was because of some extradition law, is it something like this? And therefore they are protesting. And the more they protest, the more the China, oh, Alan said something, perceive freedom, yes, because of the legislation, the criminal can be brought back to China for trial. Okay, thank you, Alan. Now, the more you're trying to resist being direct control of China, the more China will come on strongly. And I can tell you, you push all the way, because China's waiting for the tipping point moment. If I'm not wrong, the way I read China is that they're waiting for the tipping point moment, whereby they come in strongly to say, I've let you all play full out already, now it's my turn to come in. And, oh yes, and they are bringing in the security law, correct? Yes. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing. So remember, what you can protest freedom, but don't go all the way out. Okay, don't go all the way out. Some more about Tian Shui Song. Whenever you come into a arguing kind of situation, Yijing says that integrity and trust is already broken. So just be mindful. Okay, so what it means also is that if let's say you have a relationship with another person, be it a personal relationship, be it business relationship or partnership or whatever, the moment you breach that trust or you broke the integrity or you feel that your partner has already broken the trust that you have placed in him or her, now this is a time you have to be alert. This is what Tian Shui Song says. So that means trying to forewarn you first, to say that you may get yourself into this if you have that feeling, that burning feeling that the trust has already somehow been broken. Okay? And also telling you that, like what I mentioned just now, it's always a lose-lose. Now, in the arguing situation, it says here, 利剑大人. 利剑大人 means if you're in a dispute situation, if you're going for mediation, it's always auspicious to meet a fair judge. Now, if you meet a biased judge, there you go. If that judge is biased against the other party, that's it. You lose. All right, but even though you may have met a fair judge, don't assume it's a win-win. Just like the, that old couple, the AIA 10 years court case, although they won, they didn't really win. 10 years of their time and their, their youth, okay, and their torment in their mind. I don't know whether they can sleep well or not, both of them. Okay, so don't always try to go into that position if you have a choice not to. Tian Shui Song, I think once this sentence sums it all, because why is it so hard to win? And then it's always a lose-lose. Because both sides in a Tian Shui Song situation, both sides always seems to be correct. Yu Zhi say how to meet a fair judge. We have to look for someone like Bao Jingtian. Okay, Bao Jingtian. I remember I helped someone, a client having a court case also, and they were asking me how's the outcome of their court case, something like that. So I cast a petition qua and something like this, and I did mention that if you probably will be in a very disadvantaged position because the judge may not be in your favor, and it turned out to be so. So they were having a hard time. So yeah, but they were not totally wrong. It's just a matter of difference in opinion between both parties. But because of these differences led them to the court. And because the judge chose to side with the other party, therefore they are deemed at a disadvantage. Judge that's going to be handled the case cannot be chosen, right? That's right. That's why you have to only cross your finger. Cross your finger that whoever been assigned to preside over the case is fair. But I chose to believe that most Singapore judges are fair. Are fair. Okay, now why I say this, both sides seems to be right. Let me give you an example. Now, tell me your answer when I flash this slide. Tell me your answer. It's 3 or 4? Type in the chat box, 3 or 4. What do you see? The first thing when you first see. 4 on the left, 3 on the right. Wow. Okay, Mary, depend on what you focus on. That's right. Wow. Now you'll get it. Different angle. That's right. Depend on where you view it from. Depend on which side you're standing. 不三不四 exactly. 不三不四. Okay. So exactly. So this is the point. Remember this. Whenever you go into a dispute situation, always think about this picture, because you all are looking at different side and you're using this different side to force the other party to accept your side of view. But why can't you accept the other side point of view also? That is what it means, dispute. So really, when you're about to come to this point, just remind yourself about this picture, saying that it's really 不三不四 and both are right, both are not wrong. Okay, so to speak. Talk about perception, thoughts, and then feeling, and then action. Okay, so remember, feeling is where the point of no return is. You may be feeling angry or whatever. The moment you let your feeling energy move out of that point, move out into the outer world as action, there is no turning back. There's no turning back. You cannot punch someone and say sorry. Okay, and hope that the punch has no impact. No, it has impact. Okay, same thing with scolding. Same thing with sharing at the other person or cursing or whatever. It's the same thing. Once it's out and it's hurt. And another point to stress is that in a dispute situation, it's like everybody, this is called blind man touching elephant syndrome. I don't know whether it's the correct one, but blind man touching elephant syndrome is that all the blind men are allowed to touch a part of the elephant, and they were asked to describe how they see an elephant. Okay. So for the one who touched the tail will say that, okay, it's something long and hairy at the top, at the tip. The one who touched on the leg will say that, oh, elephant actually is like a very big round stump, things like that. For those who touch on the ivory, the tusk, they will say that, oh, elephant is actually very smoothly, that kind of thing, and very sharp. And for the one who touched the ear will say that it's something very flat, you know, and big surface area, something like that. Okay, and the one who touch the body would probably say that I don't know what to say. All right, so but it's the same elephant. The description coming out from every blind man is different. So I Ching is telling us and reminding us time and again that our perception sometimes can be misguided. What do I mean by misguided? That means don't fall victim to someone who knows about all this and try to manipulate what you get to see. You get my point, huh? Okay, I can guide the blind man to touch only the tail and say that this is the elephant. For all you know, I'm now guiding your perception to look at things from I Ching perspective. So I Ching is actually trying to tell you, when you touch the tail, always ask yourself, could there be a nose somewhere that you have not touched, you have not seen? You know, this kind of thing. This is what I Ching is trying to tell us. Okay, so I'm going to show you a small quick video. I hope it turns out well. And I want you to write in the chat box, what do you think that the thing that the author, the creator is trying to draw? Okay. While most of you say it's fast, most of you see almost the same thing, but there are also people who see things slightly differently, like doggy's nose, sneezing, things like that. So you see, I am actually trying to show you what I want to show you. That means I'm guiding your perception, right? I'm guiding your perception. So just bear this in mind that your perception, that means whatever you get to see may be someone trying to let you see what they want you to see. Okay, so shall I review what is the actual thing? Okay, are you ready? So what do you see? It's totally different from what you thought it was. Am I correct? Totally different. So seeing is not believing. Seeing is not believing. Whatever you see, don't believe first. Don't believe at first point. This is what I Ching has taught me, you know, if anything at all. This is what I Ching tell me. Whatever you see, don't believe whatever the first thing that you see. It's the same as negotiation skill. I don't know anybody learn negotiation skill. It's the same as negotiation skill. Negotiation skill says that don't accept the first offer. So it's the same here. Don't believe whatever first thing that you see. There may be more to it. So let the process play out a little bit more. You get what I mean? Play out a little bit more. Then when you have more information, then take a deeper look, shift your angle, change your depth of view, focus nearer or look further, you know, that kind of thing, or shift a bit, go and touch some other places, then piece everything together. This is what I Ching says. Have a holistic perception, not only a one-piece perception whereby this is what people want you to see. Then you're actually falling victim to that. And that is where scam comes in, scam, you know, victim to scam. They are actually just seeing what the scammers want them to see. And they buy into what they were told or they got to see. Okay. So then how should we maneuver in a dispute kind of situation? Anybody can share with me, if you're in that dispute situation, how would you deal with it? So usually, whenever there is a situation that crops up like that, or dispute, a potential dispute comes out like that, some chose to react, some chose to respond. You know, when you react, it's like this Coke, shaken up Coke. You know, when you open up, it straight away react. And if you chose to respond, okay, choose to respond is like that mineral water bottle. No matter how you shake, okay, we open up the cap, it will still remain calm and cool, you know, like a gentleman. Warren says try to strike a balance. Yes, that's right. Strike a balance means common ground. Okay, so my suggestion to you is whenever you come to a dispute situation, don't react first like that Coke or Pepsi or whatever gassy drink. You always want to choose to respond like the mineral water bottle. No matter how you shake, you open up, you are still as calm as ever, right? Always do that. Because when you're only calm, then your mind can think straight. When you're reacting, your mind cannot think straight, and anything goes. Seriously, anything goes. Remember, I said it, whatever, anything goes, your feeling comes out, you let the feeling comes into the outer world as action, that's it, you cannot take it back. But response is different. You have a few seconds of a quiet moment to yourself and you think through, should I do this, should I do that, that kind of things. So that leads me to the next, what do you call that, module, must win and never. Now let's based on just these three options, must win, never lose, or I always lose. So far only 11 responded, though we have 17 participants in today. Now 82% saying that never lose will be the outcome they are looking for. Never lose. 82% says that the outcome they're looking for is never lose, and 9% says that they must always go for must win, and another 9% says that I always lose. Oh my God, I always lose. So that means whatever fight, whether you're right or wrong, you always lose. That's a pretty terrible state to be in. Florence say lose on the surface. Lose on the surface. Yeah, okay, lose on the surface, but below the surface, Florence, I would say Yi Jing will agree with the 82%. Okay, 82% we say that never lose. To Mary's point about it depends, I'm willing to lose if wrong. Okay lah. So if you are really, if you think you are really wrong in the first place, then in the first place, yeah, quickly apologize and then close case. That's how you quickly close the life cycle. You get what I mean? Quickly apologize and close case, and then just be friend again. Yeah, don't insist that you are right when you are wrong. I know there are some even leaders do that. Insist that they are right even though they are wrong. So don't do that. Okay, because people, whatever you do, people can see. Okay, let me see. Sun Tzu said this. 战国是国家的大事wrong. 战争是国家的大事，它关系到百姓的生死、国家的存亡，不能不认真的思考和研究。Now you all know who is Sun Tzu, right? Sun Tzu is the one that wrote the Art of War. 孙子兵法. Okay, 孙子兵法. So he is the author of this book called Art of War, and he's very good at war. Okay, at war, 孙子. But if you read his book about the art of war, it's actually his whole intention is telling us that he's not an advocate of war. It's really opposite. This is how Yin Yang really work. While he write about war, but he's actually not advocating a war. And this is what he says in the very first few paragraphs of the book. This is the one, the Chinese phrase. 战争是国家的大事，它关系到百姓的生死，国家的存亡不能不认真的思考和研究。That means telling you, if you really want to go to war, please think twice, please think thrice, please think 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. Okay, so same thing here. Before you go to any confrontation, any dispute, please think. And Sun Tzu and Sun Bing, they are two different people, two different persons. Sun Tzu wrote Art of War, 孙子兵法. Sun Bing wrote 36计. Okay, but I don't know. Some people say that 36计 is not written by one person, but it's actually a compilation like Yi Jing. So I don't care about the legend, but it is the content that is worthy of reading and understanding, okay, and applying. So I don't really delve into who write what. So what I'm trying to say here is that Yi Jing gives us an option on how to deal with dispute. So learn this carefully. Whenever Yi Jing, this is what Yi Jing says. Whenever you think you're in the dispute situation, I mean the arguing hexagram, you have two options open up to you. One is to the left side, called the leading, 师卦, 碧水师卦. The other one is on to the right, called the 比卦. Now, 师卦, if you turn it upside down, you get 比卦. You get a point? 师卦, if you turn it upside down, you get 比卦. So that means you have a choice. When you come across a dispute situation, you have a choice. You want to go for 师卦, or you want to go for 比卦. That's a choice. But I'm telling you now when you should go for 师, when you should go for 比. And it's a choice already, because each option that you choose to take will have its different consequences. And if you choose the option, you must be able to bear with the consequences. There's two pictures here, two hexagram here. The top one is like a lake, and lake to me it looks like 地水师. Now, if you look at the 师卦 on the top right, the hexagram 师卦地水师, the 坤卦 on top is actually land or earth. Okay, land or earth, represent land or earth. And the 坎卦 below is actually a body of water. So remember in part 1, I said that one of the way to understand hexagram is to look at it and then see what kind of image comes to you. So this is the image that comes to me, saying that, hey, this 地水师 looks like this lake on the left, whereby the water is actually below the earth. Water is actually below the land. That's called 师卦, and I call it lake, lake approach. I'll explain about that. The bottom is actually opposite of 师卦, means 坎卦, body of water, is on top, and 坤卦, land or ground, is actually at the bottom. So that means this time round, when you flip it over, the water is on top of the ground. That's like this puddle of water. So when you're in a dispute situation, I Ching offers you these two approaches, lake approach or puddle approach. Now, let me ask you this question. You can type in the chat box. If everybody knows, everybody who learn I Ching and hexagram knows that this 坎卦, the body of water, can also means trouble, challenges, danger, dispute, confrontation, conflict, all the bad things. 坎卦 can represent those. Now, if water can represent all the challenges and conflicts and dispute, now which, type in the chat box, which of the approach, the lake approach or the puddle approach, the body of water will evaporate faster? So same thing, whenever, I always tell people that when you study I Ching is about how nature operates, how nature works. And if you know how nature works, you just apply the same template onto daily living. So if you are faced with a dispute, always tell yourself it's better to go for the puddle approach, because the water will be evaporated faster than you take the lake approach. For the AIA case, the 10-year court case, they decided to go for the lake approach. Therefore, it took them 10 years for the water to evaporate. Now, if you think you are wrong, if you are wrong in this case and you quickly apologize, the water gets evaporated pretty fast, puddle approach. But I'm going to drill deeper into both of them individually and explain to you more in depth, so that you know what exactly is lake approach, what exactly is puddle approach, and when should you take each approach. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take lake approach at all. I'm just telling you there are options. So you have to weigh the options, the pros and the cons, and see which one actually yields you more benefits, and then both actually can win-win. Hopefully can win-win. Like I said, 地水师 will never have any win. Dispute will not have any win. Same thing for 地水师. Okay, let's proceed. This is 地水师. So remember this, whenever you see 地水师, this comes to your mind. Leading. 师 in Chinese, although it may mean 老师, but in this case, it may not be. It can also means 劳师动众 the 师. You know, it's 劳师动众. That means come out in full force. That's like what you see in the picture. Come out in full force. Okay, an army. 劳师动众. Okay, I don't know whether any one of you have heard about this Chinese phrase called 出师 有名. You know, 出师. Let me type in the chat box to everyone. Okay, this is the one. Anyone heard of this Chinese phrase before? 出师有名. If you understand this, you understand this one straight away. Hui Ling say, yep. Now, this 出师有名师, this 师 is exactly this 师, 师卦的师. Remember about 蒙卦, I talk about 蒙卦. You know there's such thing called 出师有名 is one thing. You know what it means is another thing. Reason, the actual interpretation is that if you want to 出师, it means send out an army, send out an army, for example. If you want to send an army, you must have a valid reason. Yes, valid reason. Mason, you're correct. Valid reason. Andrew, you're correct also. Valid reason. Okay, so remember this. If you want to punch someone for whatever reason, whether you are impulsive or whether you really, that one really make you bertahan, you really want to push up your punch and punch someone, that is already 出师 already, you know. You get what I mean? To me, it's already 出师 already. But 你这个有名堂嘛? Your punch, is it valid? Is this justified? 该打不该打? You get my point? If your answer is no, I don't have a valid reason, then you don't have a valid reason to use this approach. You get my point, everyone? I retrace back a few steps back. When you're in a dispute situation, Yi Jing offer you two options, 师卦 and 比卦. Now, 师卦, I think I've explained enough to say that 师卦 means actually you call all your brother and sister, you know, that kind of things, or you want to, you know, punch someone or fight or whatever, aggressiveness. Now, before you do that, you must ask yourself, 出师有名吗? I put a ma there, question mark. Okay? If your 出师没有名堂, then you cannot take this approach because you will be in a losing position no matter why, no matter how and why you're being provoked to take the action. You get what I mean? Okay, so remember this, no matter how and why you're being provoked, no matter how right you are, the moment you adopt this but you don't have the right justification to retaliate back, you are in the wrong way. Okay, so that is 出师有名. So Hui Ling, not to worry that you get it wrong, but now you understand why already. What is the actual interpretation? And whenever we talk about 师卦, remember this, 出师有名. Okay, good. Now let me show you an example. Remember this, can anyone know what this picture is trying to depict? It's Japanese war. Not Japanese war, World War II. World War II. Okay, and the initiator for the Asian part is Japan. And Japan actually conquered almost every part of Asia. Invasion, yes. Okay, very big kind of mission and accomplishment for them, achievement. Right? So, do you think they are in the wrong to 出师? Now we talk about 出师. 出师 means send out an army. Do you think they are in the wrong, or do you think it's justified for them to come out in full force to invade? Chun Hao said no reason for the invasion. So why do they want to invade? To them, they have a lot of reason. No? To be fair, I think to them, to choose to come out to invade, they have a lot of reason. Alan said not justified from the country being invaded. But for Japan, it seems justified. Yes, exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. Yes, to the Japan, it seems justified to send the force out to invade. Okay. Yes, I understand. But now looking back, we will say that okay, Japan is not justified. Was not justified at all to invade Asia and things like that, and especially Singapore. Okay. Now I want to show you a video. Okay, I want to show you a video about this one. So bear with me. If there's no voice, please let me know. Sometimes it comes out to be like that, but I hope everything will come out fine. So give me a second. Let me pull up the video.
countries. This includes apologies to Australian prisoners of war, American prisoners of war, Canadian prisoners of war, the people of Burma, the Philippines, Indonesia, China, and blanket apologies to all people who were affected by the brutality during World War II. They have also apologized to the people of Korea in 5 different decades. But for many, this is still not enough.
This documentary video shows World War II. Yep, I got it. Let me just summarize up this video. This video documentary show World War II and show that every country that's been invaded by Japan is actually demanding apology from Japan. Okay, from Japan. Year after year, even up to this year to today, this country are still expecting and demanding apologies from Japan. Now, they did something that has no reason, and therefore they are in the losing position. So losing position means, remember I already mentioned that always make a choice from a standpoint of no regrets. I think right now they really regret that part, because this will go down in history forever and forever until the world is being destroyed. Otherwise, people will know it that Japan has done something not right, and therefore they have to apologize year after year. And then after that, showing Japan already, we move on to another part showing US. Now, US in World War II, at one point in time, fly in the planes to, where is it, Hiroshima? Is it Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and drop 2 bombs. And the damage was really, I don't know, was very, 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 very great. Okay. Now, why is it that Japan or the whole world around dare not ask US to apologize? Now, type in your comment. The act is similar. The act is almost like invasion really. You know, they can't go to that country and attack and destroy and try to take over, that kind of thing. But why is it that Japan, everybody is demanding apologies, but for US, Japan dare not demand apologies? There must be something running behind the scenes. So share with me your comments in the chat box. Mary say the American act is seen as saving others from further sufferings under the Japanese. Samuel say 胜者为王. Chunhao say Japan started the war first, so they can't demand apology. Okay, 胜者为王. Okay, valid excuse. All right, Andrew say valid excuse. Okay, very good. The answers is actually, remember I mentioned already, if you want to execute this 四卦, 地水师, you must have your 明堂 must be there. When Japan invade all other countries, Japan has no justified explanation, no justified 明堂 to say that, okay, I'm right to do that. But when US decide to send a plane over to Japan, they are justified, and that's what Andrew said, valid excuse. So that is why when they send the plane over and bomb, on surface, I'm not on surface, don't talk about conscious first. On surface, they are seen by most to be doing the right thing. Why I say most and not all? Can anybody share now that you have learned I Ching already? Why I say that US, having done what he had done, most of the people will not demand an apology from them. Why do I say use the word most and not all of them will not demand? Right, Darren, very good. Darren said they are always exceptional. Yes, there will always be an exceptional group who say that US is wrong. So be it. Okay, but from I Ching point of view, if you have valid reason, if you want to go ahead, go. Lauren say most people suffer from war. Obviously, that's why I say put conscious aside first, because when you press the red button, whoever's the president at the time decide to press the red button, I'm sure it will weigh very heavy on him too, because you know that action of pressing, how many people are going to suffer? Something like that in Japan. All right, so okay, so now you know that 四卦, when you should execute, when you should not execute. That means if you don't have a 明堂 to execute, don't execute, because you will still lose one. Now, basically, this is what I've been asking you. What's the difference between these two wars? Now you all know. Why do Japan need to apologize so many times? You know. Why US refuse to apologize and yet seems to be okay to most? Now you all know. It's that thing called 出师有名. or 没名. So condition for you to be able to execute Sikwa in a very safe zone, that means Wuju is these two conditions. Number one, legitimate cause, that means 出师有名啦. Number two, for the greater good. I brought up these examples last year when I was conducting this AOM one. I think last year this was a very hot topic. We didn't know what really happened, but then it happened. We talk about Malaysia, right? Malaysia, at that point in time, the ex-PM, everybody was saying that, this ex-PM Najib, that because of M1DB, he had been siphoning a lot of money into his own pocket and things like that. So a lot of wrongdoing here and there. So he keeps saying, no, there's no such thing. So same thing, blame everyone except for himself, and blame the J-Lo, blame the whoever, that kind of thing. Now, there's a dispute with the, the other parties, the other opposition parties and him. So there's a dispute, Tian Shui Song. So what happened is that the opposition parties decided to come together. PM, so what the opposition party did was that they band together and decided to execute this 地水师. So my question to you now, since they decided to make this move, 地水师, so they decided to come together, form a coalition, not a new party, but coalition, something like new party, but it's a coalition called Pakatan Harapan. It means Alliance of Hope, in short called PH. Now, in order for this 地水师, the act of coming together and then oppose Najib, what were the necessary conditions for this maneuver to work? It's a revision. Now I'm asking you back. Now that I've taught you already, it's a revision. Let me ask you back. Applying on real life. I know now we are looking at this at looking back. Okay, we are looking back, but then we'll move on from here because once we know what has happened, we can always project forward. I can tell you very quickly, later on we can discuss even more, that if the PH decide to come together, that means they are preparing to open a new life cycle. Am I correct to say that? When they decide to come together, that means they are prepared to open a new life cycle. And if they really win, they really open up a new life cycle. So what happened is that they will come up full force as Qian Gua, and then they will go and offer themselves to the citizens, called the Earth Kun Gua, and say that vote for me, I will give you the good days, something like this. So therefore, a new life cycle will not be open if the citizen don't buy their manifesto. If the citizen don't believe in them, a new life cycle won't be open. It will still be the old door with Najib guarding the door. All right. So what happened here was that the citizen has spoken. The citizen has listened to the PH and say that, okay, I believe in you, so I'll vote for you, and let's do wonders. Okay. So when they come together and they interact, that is where the whole new world and the whole new life cycle being created, and therefore we have the new Malaysia government last year. And we know already that when you open a new life cycle, when you open the two doors, what lies behind the door, the first thing will be 水雷尊, challenges. And I think this article cut out was actually a few months after they get power into the government. Is that they're struggling with a lot of economy mess. So the best thing for them, actually, if they know what they're doing, is they have to learn what are the things that they have to take care of. Okay, so very clear. So another incident, Donald Trump boasts his nuclear button is bigger than Kim Jong-un. All right, they are trying to escalate. They're trying to pitch which one is better, which one is better. Okay, so they were almost at the brim of going to Sikwa. But I can tell you, both of them, they're not. Both of them, although they threaten to press the button because they have a bigger one, they're not. Unless one of them is a wacky, I mean, out of frequency all haywire already. If they're in the right mind, they won't, because they know they don't have a legitimate cause, and they know that they don't have a greater cause to go for, to press the button. So they dare not. So they only go lip service. Okay, I have a bigger button, I have a bigger one than you, things like that. Until they come to a point that they cannot go any further, they'll come together and talk. This is where you go so much to the extreme, got nothing else already, reversal comes in, then they come back to the discussion table. Okay. Now, this one, which is, I think, the latest one. Okay, the latest one. Australia unnecessarily exposed itself to Beijing flurry, but relying on the US now is risky. So US, we know like US has always been picking bones with China. And then pretty recently, because of COVID-19, Australia came into the picture to, looks like siding US to pick on China. So China got angry because Australia to be the closer neighbor, yet Australia chose to stand on US side. Okay, so this is, I wouldn't say this has come to a point of 吃瓜啦. This is actually testing water. The way I look at it, China is testing water to see how much it can push the edge. Right? So this is, remember I talked about 吃瓜 already. So 吃瓜, if you want to take up 吃瓜, you must remember the two conditions. Number one is legitimate cause. Number two is for the greater good. Now, if you don't have these two conditions, don't start on 吃瓜. Now, if you cannot start on 吃瓜, then what is next to start is this one. 水地比. Okay, 水地比. 水地比 means grouping. Grouping means, oh, am I blocking? Let me see. Okay. Means, basically, the essence of 水地比 means reserving difference while finding common ground. This is the essence. In Chinese, 求同存异. 求同存异 means, yeah, you see things differently, I see things differently, you are black, I'm white, fine, it's true. I have my own culture, you have your own culture, I have my own race, you have your own race, fine. We agree that we have differences. But can we come together and look for common ground? I think some of you mentioned about common ground. Yes, common ground. So this is a second approach if you're faced with a confrontation or a possible dispute. Either you go full out or you go common ground. I Ching always advise us to say that given a choice, your number one preference is always go for common ground, which is this, 比卦. 比卦 means 比啦比肩means friend, brother, sister lah. So means, come, let's be brother, sit down, we close the door, we drink coffee and eat some buns. 这个包子喝杯茶, this is what it means. Okay? So this one. Now, doesn't mean this one can work out also. I'll explain to you. That's like pH. Let's talk about pH. I slowly put in pH examples. pH. You know the two leaders in pH? You know them. Weren't they the worst enemy of each other? They're nemesis, if I may put it this way. They're nemesis. That means if given a chance, each other who want to strangle each other a lot, right? But couldn't do that. But for what reason do they come together and agree to put down differences, come together, form pH, and overthrow the ruling government? You get my point? So this is called 吃瓜. That means you throw away all your differences first, come together, seek common ground. The common ground is to remove someone and put the country back into where it should be. Right? I'll explain more. Now, I already explained this already. When it comes to a point for both of them, the incident is that they come to a point they dare not press the button, they will have to come back to the discussion table. So they took another approach. And 比卦, you can also akin it to 比大事化小, 小事化无. Chinese always fond of using these eight characters word. 大事化小, 小事化无. So 本来一定是大事的, you go and 化到很小. 化, the word here is 化, 不是变, 是化. So if it's very small matter, 化到没有啦, then everything will be 天下太平. This is what I Ching says. Now, when we look at Bi Gua, when you want to learn more about Bi Gua, there are 3 life lessons that this Bi Gua can tell us, can teach us. Number 1 is seek common ground, which we already mentioned. Seek common ground. You can have differences. I can have my own differences. It's fine. We agree to have differences, but let's come together, talk about a common ground, work towards a common ground. Okay, that's number 1. Another life lesson from this grouping histogram is that, there is this syndrome going around. I think it's usual that everybody or somebody is trying to keep up with the Jonases. Keeping up with the Jonases means? It means that if you see that your, like for example, kids, I think it happens more in kids. When you see your classmate, kids, your classmate has this very beautiful sharpener, you also want, because you want to catch up. Okay, then you find that next day, once you have that very good sharpener, you find the next day, hey, your friends now don't have no need sharpener already. Now have, I think, something else, a very beautiful Parker pen. Then you also want Parker pen, something like that. Kiasu, kiasu, yes, perhaps it's kiasu. So this is called keeping up with the Jonas. 比嘛，比来比去嘛，那种比哈。So should we, if you are asking Yi Jing, should we keep up with the Jonases syndrome? That kind of thing. Okay, I will talk about that later. Third life lesson that you can learn from Bi Gua is about joining cliques. Now remember in part 2, I talked about Kun Gua. As you grow up in the organization, there is line 2 whereby line 2 advise you that, be mindful of what clique you join. The best is not to join, because when you decide to join a clique, you're actually accepting the norms, the team's rules, house rules, the team practices, and things like that. Okay, so if you decide to join, for example, a club, a Facebook group, a Facebook group may not be appropriate. You can remain anonymous. Okay, whatever it is, a group, association, a club, or whatever, there is a lesson in this Bi Gua to tell you whether you should or should not join. Okay, all right, we'll talk about that. Now, talking about keeping up with the Jonases, is that Yi Jing say, don't compare, because 人比人气死人. I know this is not in Yi Jing, this is not the actual phrase in Yi Jing, but in layman way of explaining Yi Jing when we talk about Bi Gua, it's like that. 人比人气死人. So don't compare. Look at this comic, they forget about the Jonas, we can't even keep up with the Flintstone. Alright, so don't compare. Now, if you really need to compare, what should you compare it with? You compare yourself today against yourself yesterday. Now, if let's say today, you know about Bi Gua. This is a lame example, but I think the example that proves my point. Today you learn Bi Gua and you know about Bi Gua. Yesterday you don't know. Isn't it you're better today than yesterday? Something like this. So you must always ask yourself, what have I gained or what have I done today so that today I am a better person than yesterday? Yes, then this is where Bi Gua can come in. 你比你自己，你不要比别人。So compare, you want to compare with other people, compare against moral cultivation. 品德, compare with 品德. Okay, don't compare with those material things like you got Mercedes, I also need Mercedes. You got BMW, I also need BMW. Something like that. And also next, you want to compare yourself, compare with your yesterday you. I think we discussed about that. Now, should you compare with yourself with 小人? You know what 小人? I don't think there is a good English translation for 小人. It's not small people, and some may call petty people, but not really petty, but 小人就是很多小动作啦. That kind of people around you. Okay, so this Bi Gua also teach us something about how to deal with 小人. Because of Yi Jing, Kongzi, Confucius, wrote in his another classic books called 为政篇, 论语为政篇. He wrote there, 君子周而不比, 小人比而不周. This 比 is exactly, he's trying to draw reference from Bi Gua. If you really read 为政篇, okay, what it means here is that a gentleman means men and women, okay, gentleman keeps harmonious relationship with each other, but he never forms cliques. Now, on the contrary, petty man, 小人, tends to form a lot of cliques but fails to keep harmonious relationship with each other. That is the difference between 君子 and 小人. And Confucius used 比卦 to illustrate. Okay? Now, what if you really join a clique, or even if you don't join a clique, your 小人 can show up also in your life? How do you deal with 小人? Yi Jing has an advice for you. Yi Jing says, 敬而远之. 敬而远之 means you respect his existence. That means you have to just acknowledge that, yes, there's such person exists in this world, near you, around you, but you choose to keep a respectful distance from this person. Don't engage him. Okay, don't engage him. And if he want to engage you, you try to disengage gracefully. This is what Yi Jing says. I mean, a very good advice for those who have to deal with a lot of 小人, in your life. Okay, I repeat again. Yi Jing says, 敬而远之 means 敬 means respect, 远 means stay a distance. So loosely translated mean keep a respectful distance. Don't engage. If he engage you, you try to disengage gracefully. Something like this. Right? Hope you understand what it means. Now let's talk about the third part about joining cliques. Joining cliques. And that is where I think we can use this to discuss about PH. Right? PH. Now, clique. PH is actually a grouping of all the opposition parties, not all, most of the opposition party come together. So this is a different, PH is different kind of grouping. Okay, but it still comes back to this 比卦. As long as there's a grouping, you always look at this 卦. The consideration for joining a clique or for a group to be able to perform effectively, you have to look at all these conditions. Number one, 天无二日，人无二主. Simple term, in a clique, in a group, there should only be one distinct leader. If you have two, if you have three, I'm not saying deputy, deputy is different because ultimately the one who makes the decision is still the leader, the top leader, right? So, leader. And number two, the leader must be a worthy one to follow. All right. So if let's say between this virtual war, if let's say Najib decided one day to come out and form another coalition, and you've been invited to join that group to say that, hey, you join me once we 得天下, 你有好处, that kind of things. 好处 putting aside, should you join or should you not join, that kind of things. So you can use this as a criteria to tick and say, okay, this is a group can consider joining, something like that. Number three, the leader should be nominated from the ground up and not elected. I know some of you may be confused, elected and nominated, what's the difference? Okay, let me tell you a slight difference. Now, leader, nominated means that everybody will say out someone that you want to nominate to be the leader. This is called nominated. Okay, and then the one with the most nomination will be the leader. But elected is slightly different. Elected is it works like this. Elected means I come out and offer myself to you. I want to be the leader. I offer myself to be the leader. So vote for me. So if only one person step forward and you have no choice, you have to vote for me, then I become the leader. And this is called elected. So there's a difference between elected and nominated. Okay, so if you know how, I don't know anyone, I don't know whether I should be saying this, but anyone knows the inner working of the, of the ruling party in Singapore, how they elect, how they nominate their leaders to come out, siphon up to the top, funnel up to the top. It is through nomination, it's not through election. Okay. And last but not least, the followers have to follow the way of the horse, Kun Kwa, which we already discussed already. If anyone go way out, for example, you have that horse that doesn't want to be the horse and want to be the dragon, become the fake dragon, then they'll go all the way up to become line 6 of Kun Kwa, which means dragons at war. And I can tell you, when you reach to the dragon at war stage, this grouping is going to fall apart very soon. It's a matter of time. So trapdoors for the leader. Now let me ask you, if you look at the Kwa, which line represents the leader? Line, the solid line, the only solid line in the whole hexagram, that one is the leader. The rest Kun Kwa are all followers. All right, so that means in a Si Kwa, if all the conditions are tick, 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 check, yes, all have, all correct, then this grouping will be very powerful one, whereby the leader will be at the rightful position, line 5. But this leader will have trapdoors the moment he assumes the position, and these are the trapdoors. So if you are leader of a group, listen carefully. Trapdoors, do not go beyond the 5th line. Whoever go beyond the 5th line, it will be the one on the right. That means you push yourself up all the way to the 6th line. And this will be the Peeling hexagram, which you talk about it. Last bar battery. It look like last bar battery. So this is it. Don't push your way beyond. Okay? Don't become tone deaf or complacent. Don't try to wield absolute power. Don't overstay your worth in the organization. When it's time to step down, step down. In the team, it's better to have small dose of opposing voices. So you, as a leader, you should not wipe out all the opposing forces and then you only have those, all the yes men. No, if you have all the yes men in your team is going to fail anyway. Okay, so remember this, in a team, it's better to have small dose of opposing voices. That means small dose, not heavy dose, small dose. But you cannot have all the yes men. Yes men will cause inbreeding in the team. And that is the cause for decadence already. Okay. Okay, let's come back to this example. This one. Commentary. Let's have a polling again. When you look back, it seems, don't look at history because history means you already know what had happened. Let's say you take away history from the equation and you're looking at it from how it started last year, and then you ask yourself this question, was pH collision doomed to fail? If you know Pi Kwa and you use Pi Kwa template to apply, you will know this is doomed to fail because it failed on almost every aspect of the criteria. Am I correct? Okay, so this is how we can say that, hey, once you know this 64 hexagram, you can actually project how things will unfold itself. That means what they're trying to do is trying to go back to Pi Kwa. From where they get derailed, they're trying to go back there and restart. That means to say putting aside differences and trying to push. Now, it will be the same thing. It will be the same thing. If they keep doing what they've been doing, they are doomed to fail again. It's very easy. No need to cast a prediction Kwa, actually. You already know when certain condition shows up, you know this condition will lead to this outcome. Only one leader. Okay, very good. All right. Not only that, there's only one leader. If let's say Anwar, my question to you, if Anwar decided, they say, okay, I won't fight for the PM seat. I'm contented with where I am. I just want the country to prosper again. So I'm okay to be one of the lower rung personnel. Would that work out? So our answer to the question has to be adjusted over time as new development comes along. You get my point? If let's say Anwar decided to not to compete with M for the PM seat, then fine. Hopefully this is what he means, that he will do what he means, then it's fine. Then M will take the lead as the only leader there, and then M making plans for a succession, for a gradual, graceful succession, then they probably will have a very high chance of taking back power. You get my point? Okay, so when you go about grouping, go for Pi Kwa, look into what it says, then you know whether they can survive or not. So I think by now, oh, I blocked this way. Now, my question is, why are there always challenges along the way? When you start a life cycle, right? And before you can have a first taste of success, right? You have challenges. So why are there always challenges along the way? Can anyone try to answer this question? Because there are some people keep asking me, come along, clients, You say, hey, 为什么人这么苦啊 ？Everything that we do always got challenge. 没有一个东西很顺。Why? The sequence, this is upper series, and so far we have talked about hexagram 1 all the way to hexagram 8. Right, hexagram 8. And you see, 1 and 2, I already said many times, is actually the door to open up the whole universe, the whole new life cycle. And can you see hexagram 3, the moment the door is open, can you see the 坎卦? Which Samuel say 坎卦? The 坎卦, which means trouble, challenges, dispute, difficulties, dangers, and whatever. It appears in every successive hexagram from hexagram 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 8. Therefore, if you open up the door, you expect there are challenges, all the difficulties that you're going to face, all the way. I Ching already tells you already, so you must prepare. So that means, I said many times already, if you want to open the door, make sure you open with both eyes open. Right? So, 坎卦, all the way, the one in box, all 坎卦until 8, hexagram 8, before you can have hexagram 9, 风天小旭, that means a small taste of success. A small taste of success only. Okay? So, that is why in the beginning it's always tough. And you have to deal with it. There's no way about it. So, if let's say you come across an opportunity that promises you, let's say, 150% returns on your investment, and you don't have to do anything. You just pump in the money every month. The interest will go into your bank account automatically. Now, for those who know this sequence already, you know it can't be true, because you don't experience the 坎卦 in between, then it can't be real. This is what I Ching is trying to teach us. Don't fall into the scam. So basically this is what it means. Okay, let's move on. So if you look at COVID-19, the new door opened already. COVID-19 life cycle, we call it the new door. Okay, and once it opened, everybody face the challenges. Big country, small country, rich country, poor country, all face the challenges. And in times of challenges, different country will put in different kind of measures, level of measures, some tough, some easy, some no measures at all. But for those who put in really tough, good measures, they will have a small taste of their own success. That's why, for example, New Zealand is able to, to open up now more and more. Okay, more and more. But then when they open up, they will not fully open up. Okay, they are still going to track like Singapore also. When they say lifted the circuit breaker and go into phase 1. So you see, the moment you have small accumulation, you must always go into the next hexagram called treading. Treading means small step each time. Okay, that means every step you take, you must be a careful move. So same with us. We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Make sure it's safe reopening before we can have normal or new normal, whatever. Now the challenge, I think, with governments, with all the governments, is that once we can hit the new normal, how to stay that way for a longer period? That is the question. Okay, so it's not an easy job to be in their seats. I wouldn't want to be in their seats. Okay, so how to overcome all these things? How to get into this 风天小旭, small step each time, I mean your first taste of little success, sweetness, is this module 9, small step each time. Okay, so this small accumulation, 风天小旭, is telling us that your progression will be something like there's dense clouds in the sky, but there's no rain. Although you want the rain so much, you can see a lot of clouds, and the clouds keep forming thicker and thicker, but rain is still not coming. So it's something like this. If you equate rain to success, it's like that. You've been working so hard, you've been waiting, you've been very patient, you've been doing a lot of things, and you don't see success, you don't see the rain at all. So what should you do? This hexagram is telling you, although there's no rain, you still got to keep moving. You still got to keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up. This is what the histogram can tell you. Small step each time. Okay, so here the whole intention of this Fengtian Xiaoxu, can you see this one here? The only one line that is different from the rest is the fourth line, which is the in line, the broken line, which is the odd one out from the rest. And this is the one that is a contrasting effect. So usually when we look at histogram and we look at the contrasting line, we want to read deeper into that line because it really tells us a lot of things. So for this, in Chinese, it's called Yi Xiao Yang Da. So this is very important. This Xiao is very important. That means whatever you do now at your beginning stage, it is not for nothing. It is for something because you're going to accumulate experience. You're going to accumulate wealth, for example. And this small can also mean with limited resources. And the trapdoor here is don't become greedy. Greed, don't become greedy like property agent. I know he probably could be doing very well already or pretty well, but he wants more. Therefore, you don't know what is enough. Therefore, he gets himself into trouble. And this is trying to tell you, even though the rain is not coming, look at the last English line. Keep moving forward even though rain is not coming. Even though the rain is not coming, keep moving forward. Don't stop. Don't stop. I mean, the moment you stop, you're actually moving backward already. And the next lesson of this histogram is don't rush. Small step each time. So to those who always want to go for big bang kind of change, I Ching using this histogram trying to remind us, don't go for big bang, go for small step each time, and every time just do small things every day and you will get there. 小序. So what it means is as you progress along, before you can hit your success, there are a few things you need to do, and one of it is build your reserve. Build a reserve. Your reserve can be in terms of money, your experience, knowledge, skills, system, stockpiles, and many more things that you think you need to build up, you build up. Okay, so stockpile like government from SARS last time, they already knew that they have to slowly build up their stockpile of masks, their rice or whatever. From there, they start to do that. Okay, so this is what we need to do as we open a new life cycle, as we are going towards tasting our success, we must start to build reserve. And this is how this 小序 comes in big time when you really need it. Like for example, COVID-19, Singapore, this is the time that draw on reserve to take care of the people. This is what we call 以小养大. The small amount of money that we save up as reserve, now it become grow so big, they can save us big time when we really need it. Okay, so this is 序卦. Don't 小看 the 序卦. When I Ching tell you small step, you say small step, Hokkien bo la sa, that kind of thing, No, it's not. We are not looking at the small thing at that moment. We are looking at the accumulated big thing. 以小养大. But one danger about 小序卦, building reserve, is this one danger, which I think everybody will know. It will become obsolete. So if you look at money, there's time value of money. So today you save $1, 10 years later, your $1, I don't know worth how much. That kind of thing. Your experience may be obsolete also. From SARS, they built up certain capability. But now some of the capability may be obsolete. Knowledge, same thing. So it's not to go for knowledge, but it's to go for the wisdom behind it. All right. Skills, same thing. Skill set, can become obsolete. System, don't say that. System is the fastest to go obsolete. Stockpiling can go bad. Rice can go bad. Mass can go bad. So they need to have a system to be able to always push out and then push in new stockpiles. Something like that. Okay, back to this and then this one. So when you have that reserve, when you save enough, the thing is people will come to you, hey, you have saved so much for what? Why don't you just use them and spend some of it, So our government stand on our reserve is like that. You cannot spend anyhow. So I don't know whether they learn eating or not, but this is what they're actually trying to advocate. Spend what you need and save what you have to. So to them is when they have to save, and they cannot spend. All right. And when it's time to spend, don't try to be stingy. You see how much they spend on their reserve, how much they draw down on their reserve. Wow, I think quite a fair bit. I don't know what have they left for our future generation. So success is a collection of small steps. This is the essence of 小西瓜, 以小养大. Can I ask you a question? Let me do a polling again. Let me shoot out this polling. Give me a second. The question is this. Who do you think is more stingy, the poor or the wealthy? The wealthy. Okay. Well, nobody vote for the poor. The wealthy. 10% say poor. All right, fine. Okay, so I think Lawrence said the poor can't afford to be stingy. Alan said both. Florence said experience tell. Right. Okay, fine. Now someone said poor, but poor can't be stingy. But I thought the poor should be even more stingy. They mean they'll be even more cautious of how they spend the money. Right? Both also can be stingy. Yes, Darren said very hard to say. Okay. Very hard to say, but I have something to say. I think this is what Yi Jing trying to say also, is that the wealthier sometimes can be more stingy than the poor. Okay, can be more stingy than the poor. Why? I'll bring out 2 hexagram, then you all draw your own conclusion. Remember I said don't believe a thing I say, you draw your own conclusion, okay? Now, we have talked about this 丰田小旭, small accumulation. If you flip it over, that's what you get. 天泽履 trading. Okay, let's look at on the left first. 丰田小旭. 丰田小旭, the bottom trigram called 乾卦. It can represent something very solid, something that's inside. Okay, something that's solid, something that's inside. That can mean something that, you know, your intention, you know what you want, and you stay true to your intention. 乾卦, very absolute. On the upper one, the 巽卦. The 巽卦. 巽卦on the upper can means on the outside. That means how you show yourself. All right, and 巽卦can also means what do you call it? Being adaptable. Okay, being adaptable, doing everything, you know, spending whatever. Now, so 丰田小旭is you know you need to stay true to your original intention. Therefore, on the surface, you can do whatever you can do. You need to be adaptable to be able to collect small accumulation so that it can grow bigger. And therefore, at that stage, because you are beginning, you are poor, you have nothing to lose. So therefore, you are more nimble and more flexible and more agile. This is 丰田小旭. Now, as you grow, as you start to accumulate more and more wealth, more and more experience, more and more whatever, you find that broken line, the 4th line, start to drop down to the 3rd line. Drop down to the 3rd line. So therefore, if you look on the right, the 天泽履 trading, the below trigram from a full solid line to become broken. It's no longer full solid line, it's broken on top. I'm referring to the bottom trigram. And then the upper trigram for trading, from being adaptable, now become a solid wall, fortress. So as you grow your wealth, grow your experience, grow whatever, your status and whatever, suddenly you feel that inside become very insecure. And then you start to build on your outside a fortress. So nobody can get near to you. Why? Because suddenly, at some point in time, you suddenly feel that you have everything to lose. Now, if you look back at Singapore, olden times, 1965, when we started to get independence, you know, actually that generation has nothing to lose. Everything goes. So they will go all out. 不怕痛苦，不怕辛苦. No, they go all out to do whatever they can to accumulate wealth. right now, because we have enjoyed the taste of success, wealth, freedom, and what else, we started to feel that we have everything to lose. And we feel very insecure very easily. Okay, so that is a difference. The left side, the small accumulation, it can be the mentality of the poor. You have nothing to lose. Okay, on the right side can be the mentality of those who already tasted, wealth, status, freedom, and whatever success, and they suddenly feel they have everything to lose. So there's a difference. And I think there's some research. Yeah, here, wealth can make us selfish and stingy. Some psychologists say, so which is I think quite in tally with what Yi Jing says. So as you accumulate wealth, there are, people will start to get aloof, people will start to have attitude problem, and start to demand privileged treatment. It will happen. Okay, this is human nature. That is why Yi Jing says when it comes to a point, you have to go back to your self-cultivation already. And then from others, people will say that, oh, I'm seeing that you're doing very good. Let me write on your good progress. And there are another group of people who say that, oh, you're doing very well. I cannot take it, man. I need to sabotage your progress. And this is a group so-called 小人. Okay, so these are the trapdoors, right? As you grow up and you can overcome all the challenges and you start to be able to accumulate wealth and health and whatever. And then that's where the trading comes in. Remember, trading, in the 乾卦 third line, I talk about walking behind tiger's tail. This is the thing. This trading histogram is telling you the same thing. When you reach this stage, you have to remind yourself that you are like now walking behind tiger's tail, because the tiger in front anytime can turn around and jump on you. And you have to stay a distance from the tiger. Okay, so this is called 天择理. So this hexagram, this is hexagram 10. Hexagram 10 is just one hexagram away from 11, which is unshakable, which is your first taste of success. Okay, so this hexagram comes one hexagram before is to remind us, please be careful. You have not reached the end point, so you still have to be careful. Don't get derailed at this very crucial moment. So this diagram is to remind us to adhere to the universal principle. And again, it's reminding us walk behind tiger's tail. If you did not get bitten, then you're good. Okay. 李虎尾不知人哼. If we go deeper into every line, it has a lot of things to tell us. It's how we progress. And you can see this progression, line by line progression, 6 phases, in every successful people who fail. The rise and fall of successful people, if you read their stories, you probably can see shadow of these 6 lines. Let me briefly and quickly run through. When you start off, you tend to be down to earth and say, okay, I want to be a good man. I want to be down to earth, and then I'll try to improve myself along the way. As you grow up, next stage, you say that, okay, I'll avoid dishonest shortcut because I'm a 君子. So if I can, I'll retreat if necessary, and then I'll progress. So retreat to progress. Fine. As you grow up further, and as you become more 仔 already, and as you gain more, for example, fame, status, wealth, and whatever, you suddenly, don't know for what reason, you suddenly cannot see clearly. You suddenly cannot walk properly. Okay? And that is where, people try to talk sense into you, cannot go into you. That stage, this is the stage. And when you grow up even more, that's where you feel that you have a lot of things to lose already. That's where your fear and caution comes in. When you go to line 5, that is where you have to make a point to be decisive and make a point to say that I want to stay true. Stay true means down to earth, integrity, self-cultivation, all these things. Stay true. And you see line 6. If you can go line 6, best is if you want to escape from line 6, the disaster of line 6, go back to line 1. You see, can you see line 3 and line 4 is always the worst 不三不四 kind of position that nobody wants to be at, but you have to go through. So it's a good reminder for all of us to say that as we progress, now that we have some wealth, and we're doing good, better than others, we must always remind ourselves, please try to see clearly, please try to walk properly. If no, then we have come to the last module, module 10 for today, staying up there. Trading hexagram 10, telling us before success comes in, we still need to stay vigilant, vigilant, resilient. Okay, and once you can cross the stage, that is where you can enjoy big time, big time, your first taste of success. And the hexagram for success is this: 地天泰，稳如泰山的泰。Okay, 稳如泰山. So in this time means you have come to a point whereby you feel that, hey, now you are like invincible already, invincible, 打不死的蟑螂, Okay, you are there and you're enjoying success and everything seems to fall into place and all the gears seems to be running very smoothly. Every month, you know, the pay will come in and every year you get increment, very good bonus, very good promotion. You know, things start to 很顺利啦, 很顺利. This is called 泰卦. Okay, 泰卦. Now, in order for 泰卦 to be 泰卦, then 坤卦 has to be on top, earth has to be on top, heaven has to be below. A bit odd, right? I don't know whether how many of you can still remember the drama video clip that I showed you all about Zhou Wenwang, about the king asking Zhou Wenwang to cast a卦, asking about what is the future of his dynasty, and the concubine stepped in to interpret what Zhou Wenwang had casted was a toppling, hexagram 12, 天地痞. 天地痞, if you flip this 泰卦, it is 痞卦. So Zhou Wenwang casted hexagram 12, 痞卦. But the concubine interpret in her own manner to say that 乾卦 for 痞卦, 乾卦is on top, so it means heaven is on top. 坤卦is earth or citizen is below, so they are at the rightful place. Therefore, the dynasty should enjoy prosperity. So this is the concubine interpretation. Now, if you have learned now here, 泰卦 and 痞卦, you know that whatever she's interpreting is rubbish. Okay, it's rubbish. I'll explain to you. Look at the diagram on the right, whereby it shows the circulation of water. Water, after a while, get evaporated up and then form cloud. And then when more cloud form, it get darkens and heavier, and therefore rain comes down. So rain comes down, it will get accumulated in the river, ocean, or whatever, and then this cycle will go on and go on. Now, when this cycle breaks or cut off or is stop rotating in this manner, then life will not survive anymore. You get my point? For example, if rain comes, never stops, okay, storms comes, never stop, but the sun is not able to evaporate as fast as the rain, that means there's only dropping down of water, there's no evaporating. What will happen to us? You have probably, I don't know what you have, flooded. Some people say it's ponding, you know, flood. And then when you have flood, all creatures probably can't live also. Plants also be overwhelmed. Okay, and trees probably will be shut down as well. So if you don't have the full cycle, life cannot survive. Okay, so same thing. If let's say there's no rain, water just keep evaporating and clouds keep forming, but somehow there's not no rain. It's the same thing. That means it's a open circuit. When it's open circuit means that when there's no rain, there's only hot sun, there's drought, life also cannot survive. Right? So for us to be able to survive and to live how we live now, there must be a closed circuit of energy flowing from the water to evaporation, to the cloud, to condensation, to the rain, and then to the water again. So same thing, for a dynasty to prosper, there must be this flow also. That means the Qian Gua energy got to come down and touch the heart of the citizen, and the citizen will have to reciprocate to say that I will vote you in, for example, I'll vote you in again, I'll accept you as my king. This spirit, I put it spirit, not exactly that the king must come down and work as worker, and then the citizen go up and work as the king. No, it doesn't mean this way. It means the energy, the essence of it, the spirit of it. That 心，君子的心一定要 touch the heart of the citizen, and in the heart of the citizen, there must be the king inside their heart. Then that is where the dynasty can prosper and last longer. The moment this is break off, the moment the king chose to stay in the ivory tower and the citizen chose not to acknowledge that this is the king, this dynasty is going to doom. It's a matter of time. Therefore, if you want a success, we always say success means that the circuit must be closed. So this hexagram is referring to a closed circuit whereby the Qian energy comes down, the Kun Guat energy goes up. So there's a circulation. Okay, so this is success. But success, I Ching points of view is that it's just like a thin line like that, a thin string whereby you are standing on it and you are trying to walk on that thin string and trying to balance. Because success, if you can't balance well, you're actually falling off one side or falling off to the other side, and therefore you got challenges again, you got failure. Okay, so this is what it means. So for success to come in, yin yang must interrelate, and when they interrelate, it's auspicious and there's good progress. But there is a constant effort needed to maintain the balance. That is why in politics, when you have a one-term kind of politician, that means when it comes to election, then they appear. And when there's no election, they don't appear. They don't know where they are not going to get votes. All right. So if you are already in power, you get the mandate from the citizen, and you keep constant effort to maintain that balance, to maintain that circulation, you will be in there for a long time. So the trapdoors, if you are in the hexagram status already, all right, I mean you're enjoying your success, and you know that there are a few trapdoors on the top, on the right bottom there, trapdoors. If you have the I have arrived syndrome, this one of the trapdoors already. If you started to become complacency, trapdoors. You started to turn tone deaf, trapdoors. If you want to be staying in the ivory tower, don't want to come down, trapdoors. If you overstay your worth there, trapdoors. So you can look around for all the worldly news, all the news and world leaders and things like that. For those who can stay very long, and for those that who get derailed in a very ugly manner, you look at what has caused them, to be what they are today. Okay, you will know already is if they have been derailed. If you look at the trapdoors, it's either one of them. Okay. Okay, and then 地天泰, there's another sentence here which says that 93 is 93, 无凭不匹. 无凭不匹. Actually, when I look at this, I'm actually looking at part 1. Actually, I'm revising part 1. Part 1, remember I said that everything looks good from far, but far from good. This is actually 无凭不匹. And then the line 2, we say that what goes up must come down. I mentioned that in part 1 also. What goes up must come down. 无往不复. This is what goes up must come down. And then maintain personal greed and perseverance. 无咎. And then next one is maintain integrity. Go for self-cultivation. At 地天泰, this is very important. You must do this. Otherwise, it's very fast for you to get toppled. So with that, we go into what is the neighbor of unshakable. What is the neighbor, the nearest neighbor to success? And the nearest neighbor is called toppling, 否卦, hexagram 12. Now, 否卦, there's one ruling that says that every process can never go unhindered. 物不可以中通, 通 means unhindered 通可以通 It says it very clearly here. 物不可以中通, 故受之以否. Whatever you are doing, no matter how smooth you are experiencing right now, there will become a point where you get stuck. Don't despair when you hit there, because hexagram 12 already tell you, whatever, no matter how smooth, you get stuck at one point in time, because every process cannot go unhindered. So bear this in mind. For those who cannot take this, who have already tasted success, very good success for a long time, and then suddenly everything somehow, get stuck and 不顺 everything just go against them. They will, if they cannot take it, 讲不开, they will get into burnout very, 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 very fast. All right, and then I don't know if they're negative enough, they will think of all the negative things. Let's look at 皮卦. Huh? 皮卦. When you can get there, if you can get there, you self-reflect a bit lah. Self-reflect a bit lah. So these are a few things lah. Okay, how come we can get there? For example, ivory tower syndrome. Huh? You've been staying up there, and you don't know what's happening around, on the ground, and like Nokia. Nokia is one very good example. Ivory tower, tone deaf, and they get complacency, they get complacent, therefore they get kicked out. It's a matter of time. No communication, they probably didn't interact with the customer, didn't find out what they really want or what they are really keen on now. And then if let's say in the party there's a single voice, there's no opposition voice, then it's a time also. Because if there's no opposition voice, means that it will go to the extreme and reversal will come in. That's why our government will always, even though if let's say ruling party win full out, they will want to introduce in opposition voice. And when you lose the original intent, that's it lah. Yan Hen Li Zhen, if you can remember, if you lose that yan, you are on the way out also. There are many more, but these are the most common symptoms that will show up even before you hit toppling. So if you are mindful enough, the moment you hit that one of those symptoms, you remind yourself, I think I'm getting complacent, I better not be. You still can prolong the unshakable hexagram. Prolong, but hexagram 12 tell you no matter how long you prolong, you hit a point where you get blocked. Okay, it's a matter of time. Now look at this. Pretty recent. I think because of Twitter I think put a flag on President Trump tweets. All right, and then Facebook dare not do that. So I think Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg came out to say that they won't do anything to the inflammatory post, but the employees has a different thinking. Okay, the employees staged a virtual walkout to protest Trump post. So now if you see from here, this may be one company to eyeball on. Okay, if Mark Zuckerberg still insists to be on the other end, away from the employee, that means the circuit is no longer closed, it's broken, it's open circuit, then I think we can expect something to come out from Facebook. So let's eyeball this. Okay, let's eyeball this. Now at hexagram 11 unshakable, I Ching is trying to tell us, learn how to avoid toppling. Learn how not to go to hexagram 12 as long as you can. So the key word is called 去彼持态. 去彼持态 means how to remove toppling and sustain unshakable. This is what it means. How to do that? This is a very beautiful verse in I Ching. I love so much. In the 系辞下传, you can look through 系辞下传. It says, 安而不忘为，存而不忘亡，治而不忘乱. Very nice 3 sentences. It explains everything for everything that that happened in this world. 安而不忘为 means you are in the peacetime. Don't forget about danger that may come. Right? When you are living very well, don't forget that there may be a time of what I call that, non-existent. Non-existent means destroy and things like that. 治而不忘乱 means when you are in a very orderly manner, don't forget that there could be time where it's messy again. So to sum up, is trying to tell us to be mindful of possible danger in time of peace. In time of peace, it's not time to relax. If you look at Singapore, what Singapore has been doing, you know, during peacetime, they have been doing a lot of things. Okay, so like for example, what does Singapore have? Singapore have this terrorist exercise every now and then, right? So they mean during peacetime now we're enjoying the peace. The government is not forgetting about the possible threat of terrorism. Then on the right side, putting in reserve so that in times of COVID-19 like that, they will know what to do. So you have for example, you also have the fire drill. Fire drill. Okay. Every now and then, every building will have fire drill. It's not that you're enjoying peacetime now. Don't forget that in terms of fire, what can you do? What should you do? You know, something like this. COVID-19, we know economy has been greatly impacted. Business closing down, people losing jobs, and US, the unemployment rate has shot up very high, you know, and in Singapore, same thing, we are not spared. Now, on our road to recovery, this is a question, should the government dictate that government and private sector should never retrench worker? Now, this is a question. From Yijing point of view, should government dictate that government sector and private sector should never retrench the workers? When you are at your P-Gua, for whatever reason, you've tasted your success, and for whatever reason, you fall into the P-Gua hexagram. Now, Yijing also give us an advice how to quickly come back to the unshakable. Okay, regress back a bit, go back to hexagram 11. I'm going to show you now. Yijing says, 否极泰来. But we know, we have learned from part 1, part 2, part 3, is Tai come first before P. But why is Yijing always telling us 否极泰来? That means put P in front and Tai later on. It must have a foresight and insight to say that whoever will enjoy success, sooner or later will come into P-Gua and they will get lost inside this P-Gua. And then that spiral down. So Yijing can be a very good motivator of life. Very, very good mentor, very good motivator. He's always ahead of time, always ahead of us to say that, hey, the way they phrase the 成语 or whatever, they're already telling you that don't lose faith, don't lose hope, no, don't lose whatever. Just stay calm, because 否极, when P go to the extreme, Tai will come back. Adversity leads to prosperity. So it shows us one way, Yijing shows us one way how to reverse back and quickly go back to the Tai Gua. And this is just one way. This slide, what I'm showing now, is just one way. In part 2, I'll showing you another way. Okay, so here, this one way, Yijing put in another 2 hexagrams in between to show you the sub-processes, how you can get from P to Tai Gua again. And that 2 is called Yi, benefiting, and then Sun. Sun, diminishing. We put them together, this is what I call them, right sizing. In Chinese, have you heard about this Chinese called 损益表? 损益表 means profit and loss. Profit and loss. Right sizing means, can be painful, means you got to look at the whole thing holistically and see what works and what does not work. Does not work one, go and throw. 损. 损 means throw away, diminish it until you don't want. Yi means whatever that's working well or still working well and can help contribute to your Tai Gua, you keep. And in addition, if there are certain things that you don't have now which you think can help to contribute, is also Yi, can also help to benefit, you take in. So it's like spring cleaning. In short, it's like spring cleaning. Things that don't serve you, throw. Things that you think can still serve you and contribute, keep. And things that you don't have now but can contribute one, take it in. Isn't that what Singapore is trying to do now? Reskilling, restructuring, forming a lot of agency now here and there, jobs and things like that. Right? Although now they are asking most businesses to try to hold on to their employees as much as they could during the circuit breaker time. I'm sure later on, when everybody trying to resume, and when every business is trying to get back on track, government won't insist that all businesses must keep 100%. I don't think they will insist. If they are in the right frame of mind, if they know Yijing, they probably won't insist. They will let market forces do the job. Okay? I recall LKY said something post SAR. That means I can't remember, it's 03 or 04. He said this. I'm going to share with you. Life is a relentless process of attrition. And this is so true if you need to survive. This is survival, okay? Survival. That means if you want to 生存下去, and if you want Singapore to continue survive, this is a true fact of life. Life is a relentless process of attrition. Now, I'm sure there will be some lobbying party to try to, tell government or back the government to impose the law, impose the ruling, say that don't let businesses retrench. But I don't think it will work. In the longer term, from Yijing point perspective, no, you should let market forces do the job. Okay? So I think Singapore has been doing well. I don't know, this is just my view, in trying to not only deal with COVID, but in trying to do what they could do while they are waiting for this COVID to get away. Right? So that's why you can see that they have formed a lot of economic recovery task force to share recommendation in early next year, what they can do to quickly come back to Taigua. And I'm sure it involves some very painful decisions. That means dropping off something, dropping off certain system, dropping off certain kind of way of doing things. Okay? Mason asked this question, how do you reach these two solutions by some sort of transformation from Taigua? Okay, I will explain. Now, let's look at this first. Mason, I think, is asking how does Yijing squeeze in these two hexagram, benefiting and diminishing, if I'm correctly interpreting you. Okay, all right, good. Let me explain this. I don't know whether I can show you the mouse. Anybody can see the mouse? Anybody can see the mouse? I'm pointing at Pi Gua. Can anybody see the mouse? No, okay, no, then fine. Okay, then I will try to verbalize and try to visualize for you. So do your best to understand. Okay, good. Look at Pi Gua. Pi Gua is 3 solid line on top, 3 broken line below. Right? So Yijing is trying to tell us, in order for us to get from Pi Gua to Tai Gua, first of all, small step is to switch line 1 and line 4, switch places. Can you see that? Line 1 and line 4, switch places. And when you switch places, you get the benefiting hexagram. Can follow? Line 1 and line 4, you switch places. Because line 1 and line 4, I don't know whether you can recall, in part 1, I talked about corresponding line. Actually, corresponding line means line 1 and line 4 actually correspond to each other. So in a very skillful way, Yijing swap line 1 and line 4 upside down, and therefore you get Feng Lei Yi benefiting, which is the second one. And then another step is to switch, okay, switch the second line and the fifth line. You see, they are switching line by line in a very graceful manner. It's not in a very haphazard and very rushed manner. It's line by line, switch over, switch over. So line 2 and line 5, switch over, you get the diminishing Gua. And once you fully manage that line 2 and line 5 switch, then you move on to the next line, the last stage, which is line 3 and line 6. You switch over, you get back Tai Gua. This is how they move. 抽摇换象. In Chinese, I call it 抽摇. 抽摇 means you pull out a line, you change. And when you change, the whole image 象 change. This is what it means. Okay, so if you look at just simply the middle 2 subprocessor, this is what you call 易损, 易损, 易损. So it means right sizing. If it doesn't fit, throw. If it fit, put it in. So that it become a bigger, better, and come back stronger or recover stronger. Can this apply to all Gua? Yes and no. Yes, you can do that, but no, not many people can know how to interpret what comes out after that. So you can try that, and because everybody seeing the Gua can have different meaning interpretation because of the framework and perception, all these things. If something comes out to you, leverage on that, because that will make things work for you. But if you can't see, then you can see. For example, if I'm going to show this without explaining, you probably won't know what is this. How do we get from Pi Gua to Tai Gua if I don't do the explanation? And thank you, Mason, for raising this question up. Okay, this one is what LKI mentioned. I just share with you all. This one, I think you all know, let market forces determine. Okay, where was it? Okay, this one. So that's it. That's it. Retrenchment going to come. Job losses going to come. And the mindset should be, this must happen before Taigua can come back. So it's a short-term pain. I put it this way, it's a short-term pain. But of course, now I'm saying it from, I won't get retrenched because I'm self-employed, something like that. So I don't feel the pain. But for those who are on that thin line, you probably feel the stress, that, anytime after this COVID, when they lift it up and recovery comes in, he might be affected, he might be retrenched. So his thinking is pretty different. He's probably hoping that the government will step in to say that no retrenchment. But if you're going to do that, if government going to decide to do that, I can tell you our recovery will be much longer. Okay. So with this, we have actually completed hexagram 1 all the way to hexagram 12. And this is what I call one cycle. One cycle from starting to success and then drop down to failure or get derailment or whatever, toppling, 天地 P. P is something like get stuck. Like the water, your basin, your water cannot go down is because the choke pipe. That is the same feeling. 天地 P is the same feeling. That means the water cannot go down. It gets stuck somewhere, you don't know where. You do whatever you can, it still gets stuck. So this is the first cycle. And why am I concentrating AOM1 on just the first 12? I know there are 64. There are so many more. Why don't I just cut 1/3, I can tell you this, the moment you can understand the first 12, you are there already. That means you understand the 64 hexagram and the sequence much more than other people who are learning I Ching also. Okay, and I can tell you, the moment you learn the first 12 hexagram, and when you start to learn the other hexagram, remaining hexagram, you will find that it's actually a repeatable cycle of the first 12. It's a repeatable. That means if you know the first 12, and when you come across later on, I think I know this. This is the same concept as, for example, hexagram 1, hexagram 2, things like that. So it's much easier for me to teach you all, and it's also much easier for you to pick up and learn, because you can see the shadow of the first 12 everywhere as we go down in part 2. All right. Okay, to sum up, nothing is free. There's always a price to pay. So remember your desire. If you can satisfy a desire, there's always a price to pay for that satisfaction. And next thing, what do you do while you're waiting? Patient. Now, during COVID-19, you can't do anything. There's always something that you can do. Is what are you doing when you're waiting? All right. Next, dispute is always lose-lose. So remember, when it comes to dispute, you have a choice. You can either take a leg approach or a paddle approach. I Ching says that given a choice, go for the paddle because the water gets evaporated faster. So you don't have to have a sleepless night, that long, if you use paddle approach. Next one, small step each time. And if you can, as you grow your wealth, please remember to accumulate. So for those who are growing wealth and forget to accumulate, building up the reserve, they are in for a big time, because we already know hexagram 12 say that there's not all processes will not go unhindered. Which is the next point. Every process can never go unhindered all the way. You will come to a point where you get stuck. Last but not least, in time of peace, be mindful of the danger that's lurking in the dark. It's there. It's just that it is unobserved for now. But it's there. It doesn't mean it's not there. You cannot see it's not there. Okay?
March to the end of May, we united as one people to protect the health and safety of everyone, regardless of their race, language, and religion. In each crisis, people and leaders shared a common worry for our future. And it is this deep sense of crisis that helped us rise to the challenge and make painful adjustments. We are in such a crisis today. So I have renewed confidence that we have that unity, that cohesion, that strength to overcome our difficulties. There are already signs of an economic recovery. If there are no upsets, we will make positive growth this year. You know, SARS was a tremendous PR problem. We went through an agonizing, fearful, wrenching period. But every day that it was reported, describing in detail how we met each problem, methodically, we enforced the quarantine. Others could not enforce the quarantine. We had people who broke the quarantine, but we had a cooperative population. We are a different population. It is a population that knew its survival was at stake and cooperated with each other and with the government. Cisco guards serving home quarantine orders offered to buy food for the people they served these orders on. That's Singapore. But I'll tell you one great difficulty for this government. In '65, we were hungry, we were poor, we were hardworking, we were prepared to try anything. Today, we have grown accustomed to a higher level of comfort and prosperity. So many find belt tightening uncomfortable, and the fear of unemployment makes everybody nervous. But let me assure you that the ministers have thoroughly studied all the options and know that the best approach is to take on the challenge head-on, even if it calls for painful measures. And they know what they are doing. We in Singapore are generating new jobs. That's a problem. Because the new jobs coming in, as you can see, 25% unskilled. And all the factory operators will now have to seriously consider going back to night classes or schools. They're only 45 years old, some even in early 40s, and they got another 20 years of work ahead of them. But it's tough, but it is doable. If you are determined to do it, if you are prepared to sweat it out, you can do it. You know, I did not work a computer. I spent months repeating again and again how to use that computer. Finally, at about 10 years ago, I'm in the loop. So to the older workers, I say, I understand the problem. I understand it was not your fault. I cannot say it was the government's fault because we did the best we could with the resources we had. Now, unlike previous downturns, it's affected our white-collar workers, including middle management. Now, the jobs we lost through SARS will come back after 6 to 12 months. Air travel in the region will grow. We have the best educated and skilled and disciplined workers in Southeast Asia. And most important, this present team of ministers is now tried, tested, and proven. In other words, investors coming here know that there is strong and capable government in Singapore, at least for the next 10 to 15 years. This means more investments, more factories, more regional HQs, therefore more jobs. To expand our markets over the last 2 years, the government has woven a network of closer economic ties with the biggest economies in the world, giving Singapore an edge. This means products made in Singapore enjoy an advantage in exports to these countries, creating more jobs. But finally, from my own experience, in any battle, morale and the spirit of a people will decide the outcome. I never believed that we would fail. I knew it was going to be tough, like climbing up the face of a cliff. But we had the guts and the determination, and we climbed up the face of that cliff.